G'day guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be flying with Malaysia Airlines on their A350 in business class overnight from here in Kuala Lumpur up to Tokyo. Very excited for tonight's flight. It's currently about 12 p.m, midday, just about to check out from this hotel here. Got a lot of time to kill today, don't I? But hey, plan is to go find a restaurant, go for a walk, KLCC Park, and then yeah, eventually make my way back here, pick up my luggage, head off to the airport and go from there. Now, looking back on the past few days on Flight Radar, on average, this is around about a 7-hour flight, which I think is going to give us a really good perspective of, you know, what the business class is like, what the lie flat seats are like as well, since it's going to be an overnight flight, arriving very early into Tokyo tomorrow morning. I've never flown on the A350, so to do it in business class is just a plus. So apart from the flight, we're also going to get a chance to take a look at the lounge as well, the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. I believe it's called the Golden Lounge. Obviously, we'll find out later in the video, but I've had a look online and it looks absolutely spectacular. You know, I'm going to be able to have a shower there, get a bit of food in me, relax before the flight tonight, and who knows, I may try and get there a few hours early just so I can enjoy it a bit longer. I mean, it is 12 p.m. right now. I'm just about to check out from my hotel here. I'm staying at the Hotel J by Dorset. It's got quite a nice view. See if you can have a look behind me. You can just see the Petronas Twin Towers just up there, just one of them. A bit hard to see, but I'm going to head over there later on, get a couple of nice clips anyway. So yeah, not a bad hotel. So we'll just check out, we'll go for a bit of a walk, grab some lunch, kill some time, and then look, ideally I might just head back here around 5 p.m. or something, pick up my luggage, we'll head to the airport. It's about an hour away. Anyways guys, it's about time I check out from this hotel, go for lunch, have a look around, and then we'll start making tracks to the airport. Let's get going.
So after hanging about the city for a little while, checking out my favourite spots like KLCC Park and the iconic Petronas Twin Towers, I've made my way back to the hotel, grabbed my luggage and ordered a grab to the airport. Now if you've seen my last video, also with Malaysia Airlines on their 737 in business class, you'll know I've already discussed the incredible history of the airline, so I won't double down on it on today's video, so feel free to go back and check that video out if you're interested at all. So for today's flight up to Tokyo, I only spent 207 Aussie dollars, or about 557 Malaysian ringgit, and 61,200 Qantas Frequent Flyer points, which is booked approximately 3 months out from tonight's flight. Generally, I avoid overnight flights, as I'm someone who wakes up when a feather hits the floor, but the idea that I get to lay down fully tonight didn't make the idea seem so bad, especially since the hotel prices in Tokyo, as we all know, are on the expensive side, especially when travelling alone.
All right, I have arrived very early today. Might be 8 or 9 hours early. Long story short is had some issues with my foot recently. No biggie, but it's best I take some time off walking. I've already done about 8,000 steps today, so it's best that I take a break. So yeah, here at the airport, super early. The plan is now, I went to like a kiosk to go just print out a boarding pass because I've already checked in yesterday online. Printed it out, but it didn't have like the lounge invitation on it, so I just wanted to check. So I went to the counter. That was all well and good, got that printed out. Then I went to go to try and get through customs and security when you have to scan your boarding pass, and just says not allowed if you're more than 6 hours out from boarding time, so that's all good. I am just gonna go walk around, have a look around, and apparently there's a viewing deck here, check out some planes, so we'll go have a look at that.
Kuala Lumpur International Airport, now officially known as KLIA Terminal 1, first opened in 1998, replacing the old Sabang Airport. The entire complex sits on a huge site in Sepang, around 50 kilometres south of the city. KLIA is split into two main parts, the main terminal building and the satellite terminal, where most long-haul flights, including my flight up to Tokyo tonight, depart. Now just across the airfield is KLIA Terminal 2, which is on the left of this diagram, better known as KLIA 2. Opened in 2014, it was purpose-built for low-cost carriers like AirAsia, and is famous for its 300-metre sky bridge, the first of its kind in Asia, which lets passengers walk directly over an active taxiway with the aircraft moving beneath their feet, where I've been lucky enough to walk over myself and also taxi beneath while in an aircraft. Alright, I went and tried the boarding pass to try and get through to customs again and security. You're allowed in 6 hours before departure time. So, that means I've got another hour to kill. So after hanging about for a couple of hours, I was allowed through customs and made my way over to the satellite terminal. Now generally, passengers take the Aero train, which makes the journey in just a few minutes. However tonight, I'll be catching a shuttle bus as the trains are undergoing some upgrades as of filming this video. The satellite terminal is home to the Sea Gates and has one of KLIA's most unique features, the Jungle Boardwalk. It's an indoor pocket rainforest with a raised walkway, bathed in natural light under the glass roof. Malaysia Airlines also operates its flagship Golden Lounge here for international travellers, where we'll be heading in just a tick. Alright, finally made it through customs and also caught a shuttle bus to the satellite terminal here, where I believe I'll be flying from tonight. I don't actually have a gate number yet, as it's still quite a few hours away, but I managed to come and check out the Golden Satellite Lounge and just about to have a shower. It's not too bad, but check this out. The door's pretty much open, but I guess they're tilted so people can't see, but anyways, it is what it is, so gonna have a shower and yeah, a bit funny, but it is what it is. Aside from that, I'm gonna head back out. I had something to eat just before, just a little bit of a light meal. Don't want to eat anything too heavy tonight, so I'm going to try my best to try and get some sleep. And then, yeah, I'll check out different places in the lounge as well. And I'm sure as the night goes on, should get a little bit more quiet too. At the moment, it's very busy, so it's not really the best for filming. So yeah. All right, just freshened up, had my shower. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, I'll be honest, it's not the nicest sort of shower I've been to in a lounge before. Anyways, let's head back out. See what else we can find. Look, the shower facilities weren't too bad, but because the doors were very open, you can constantly hear loud chatter from the workers, and I even had to come out and ask a staff member for a towel, even though they allowed me through and knew I was going in for a shower. I'll be honest and say, I've certainly come across much nicer shower facilities and service. But moving on to the buffet, there was a wide variety of Malaysian food alongside some Western food, but once again, it just wasn't really to my taste. As one would expect, I had to check out the bar area. The service was not where I expected it to be, and much to be desired here. I ordered 2 drinks in total, there was no smiles, just a wham bam thank you ma'am. They pass it over and off you go. And to be honest, that's the feeling I get tonight. No workers in this lounge are taking pride in their work, no smiles, no small talk, just a bit of an odd vibe. Now on a positive note, I will say the seated areas are really nice, comfortable, with plenty of charging points and great views outside. Overall, I'd say if I was coming here for an hour or so, didn't need a shower and to freshen up, it's not too bad. But because I've been out all day walking around and spent many hours already in the airport and plenty of hours here in this lounge, that's possibly had an effect on my overall view. We'll be boarding tonight's A350 from gate C26, and after lining up first for the business class, I managed to get myself on the plane first, which certainly helps when filming these videos as I try to be as non-invasive as possible. Tonight's aircraft is actually an ex-Scandinavian Airlines plane, which is quite unique, with the Rego 9M-MAH, which began operating for Malaysia Airlines in November 2023. By the time I boarded the aircraft, it was just after 11 PM and headed straight towards seat 3A, which unfortunately has the bulkhead on the windows side. Now generally I do my research and try to get the bulkhead on the aisle just for that extra privacy, but because we're on a unique ex-Scandinavian Airlines plane, it has a different layout to what I was expecting. Some would actually argue it's actually a better layout than the regular A350s operating for Malaysia Airlines, so I'm pretty happy to be on this aircraft tonight. Generally this aircraft either operates the KL to Doha flight or the one I'm on tonight up to Tokyo. The business cabin is in a 1-to-1 configuration with 8 rows between the first and second doors, followed by another 2 behind the galley. Now as it's Malaysia Airlines, we have the Aspinall of London amenity kit, headphones, seat controls and charging points to the left of me on the bulkhead, and since we're on overnight flights, I made sure to set up my undersheet in preparation for some rest just a bit later.
Stay comfortable and enjoy the flight and service flight services. Shake good hands with the cabin crew and thank you for choosing Malaysia Airlines.
And it was around this time, one of the cabin crew members came over and introduced herself and offered champagne or a juice, followed by the hot towels. Overall, these seats are quite comfortable and clearly there is plenty of space to move about. I love the MH studio setup on the IFE, with the option of metric or imperial with the maps, and of course the outside cameras, which you can actually minimize while you watch something else, or like myself, enjoy the flight map. Overall, it's a great 16-inch touchscreen, which appears to have a decent selection of movies, music, and other entertainment, enough for anyone to be entertained for the 7-hour flight. As for the seat specifications, they're 22 inches wide with 44 inches of pitch, and they recline into a fully flat bed of 78 inches, which is about 6'6" or 198 centimeters. So we'll definitely enjoy a lay down on this seat a bit later. The captain announced we'll be cruising at 37,000 feet tonight, and once we burn some fuel and become a bit lighter, we'll ascend a couple thousand feet and remain around 39,000 feet for majority of this flight. Now tonight's announcements are in Malay, English and Japanese, and so far I'm really enjoying the Malaysian hospitality and friendly smiles about the cabin from the crew. We left the ground at 11:58 PM local time and began the 5,410 kilometre or roughly 3,360 mile journey up north to Tokyo. Now obviously depending on the day, these are rough figures. Now, since we departed close to midnight, I really wasn't expecting a meal service of any kind this late into the night. However, not long after takeoff, the cabin crew got up and began to prepare the cabin for this service, although after hitting a few bumps, crew were called to be seated, so obviously this is a safety thing. There wasn't anything too dramatic, and possibly what I'd call light turbulence, but still enough to disrupt the service. After looking at the flight data, I could see we changed from going into headwinds, then to tailwinds multiple times, which could possibly be the reason, although I'm not sure how accurate this flight data is on the IFE. Either way, generally when moving up into faster winds, or vice versa, descending to slower winds, bumps are expected. So once we cleared most of the bumps, a friendly cabin crew member came over and mentioned they'll begin the meal service, and also asked whether I'd like to be woken up for the breakfast, which was going to be about 2.5 hours before landing into Tokyo, to which I gladly accepted. So it was 45 minutes into the flight that refreshments came around, with many beverages of your choice. Next up came the satays, which looked absolutely delicious, and generally I do have these back in Australia, but as a celiac, I can't guarantee what sauces these have been marinated in over here, so I just didn't want to take the risk. But I had a small seafood dish, which I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest seafood fan at all, so I had the salmon, but left the prawns. Overall, I wasn't too hungry this late into the night anyways, and was keen to get some rest at this point.
Okay guys, about an hour and a half into the flight now. I'm absolutely knackered. It's probably about 1:30 in the morning. I've been up quite early this morning, doing a lot of walking, so yeah, as you can see, I'm all laid out here. Yeah, so I'm going to get some rest, and then about 3 hours time, they should be waking me up for breakfast. So we'll catch you in the morning.
If I could be
3 hours later, the crew began preparing the cabin for breakfast service. Now I had a generic airplane celiac meal with fruit, bread, a few other things, followed by a nice omelette. Overall, it wasn't too bad. Now I'm honestly not too sure how much sleep I got in the 3 hours prior, maybe a couple of micro naps here and there, but overall it was just a bit too bumpy at points to really get any rest. Overall, the seat in the lie flat position is relatively comfortable, however I definitely would have preferred to be in a row with the bulkhead on the aisle side just for that extra privacy. Now one thing I'll mention is the Wi-Fi. It really wasn't too good for the majority of this flight, and only really came good in the morning when we're not too far out of Tokyo. Now before wrapping up the service, a cabin crew member came around and thanked us all for flying with them, and hoped we enjoyed the flight. And of course, addressed us by name, which was certainly a nice touch, and a thumbs up for the Malaysia Airlines crew for their hospitality. So once this was done, the crew gave a bow at the front of the cabin, concluding their service.
If I could be はお急ぎのところ到着が遅れます。
Okay, well we are off the plane now and we are currently on the JR line heading to Shinjuku. Running on maybe about 8 minutes sleep. I don't know. I think I had a few micro sleeps on the plane, but We'll manage. It feels great to be back here in Tokyo. It's good to be back in Japan, so either way, I'll survive. I'll manage today. I don't think check-in's till about 3 p.m. But once we get there, we'll wrap the video up. I'll give my thoughts, and we'll go from there. So nice. Really good. Alright guys, we have made it to the hotel finally. It's just after 12 p.m. I got myself an early check-in today. Paid the extra because, yeah, pretty damn knackered. I think I woke up, yesterday, probably about 7 o'clock in Kuala Lumpur, and I'll be lucky if I've had maybe 5-10 minutes since then on the plane. Just little micro bursts of sleep, something like that, but all is well. We're here in my cozy little APA room that you get here in Japan. They're the cheaper option, but they're still, you know, at least around about $100 Australian per night. And then, yeah, obviously the early check-in, that costs a little bit extra too. Anyways, Malaysia Airlines A350 business class. We'll start it off with the lounge. I mean, I got there very, very early, so to be fair, it's not bad. If you're just going to be going there for like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours max, it's all you need. It's not too bad at all. I suppose I'm sort of comparing it because, you know, I had to spend a good, I reckon I spent a good 5 hours in there last night, and I guess it gives you a bit more of a chance to be a bit more picky, doesn't it? Because, you know, when I went to go have the shower, I told them in that area that, yep, just gonna go have a shower. No worries, they led me down that way, and then go to the showering area, about to have a shower, and then I realized there's no towels. So I had to go back out, get one off them, and just the way they are too, they don't really take pride in what they do there. I mean, I'm not too sure how much they're getting paid, but at the end of the day, you know, let's put it to example, what was it, the Plaza Premium Lounge in Hong Kong. Getting the phone call. What's going on here? But yeah, anyways, let's make a bit of a comparison. Say the Plaza Premium Lounge in Hong Kong. Sure, that is a spectacular lounge. However, I'd say similar size airports. Yeah, so realistically, you would think they'd have something similar, but at the end of the day, like it's just the demeanor. Like that the staff didn't really act. They didn't really seem like they wanted to be there. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't everyone, but there was quite a few staff members who just, like, you would go to the bar to grab a drink, and not really any smiles or anything, just, you know, you say what you'd like, and they just hand it over, and they wouldn't say anything like, oh, there you go, you know, enjoy. None of that. It was just hand it over and catch you later, mate. Aside from that, I mean, it's just, yeah, food options as well wasn't really what I personally like as well. Don't get me wrong, I don't always want Western options, but when you have celiacs like myself, sometimes Western options help. And yeah, so it was just a lot of curries and these sorts of things. And mate, I don't know, I don't really want a spicy curry just before I'm about to hop on an overnight flight. But so yeah, just my personal opinion. Then the lounge wasn't the best. In terms of the actual flight itself, now, I want to say first and foremost, the cabin crew are excellent, super friendly, really nice. As mentioned throughout the video, they come around, introduce themselves. They do that on most of these business class flights, but it's just a nice touch when they come around and do that, and then they remember your name for the rest of the flight. It's great. And then yeah, they were quite good. At the end of the flight as well, you know, before we were about to descend, they did a little bit of a bow and, you know, come around and thanked everyone for flying with Malaysian Airlines and hope to see us in the future. One thing I will say though, it's somewhat typical in these neck of the woods, and I know some of you don't like it when I say that, but too bad, because when you have celiacs, you have to be very careful with what you eat. And I mean, I know everything which I can and can't eat, thankfully, but I noticed this a couple of times when it's down that I had a gluten-free meal, special dietary requirement, but then they come around with like satay and stuff, and don't get me wrong, I can have chicken, I can have beef, all that sort of stuff, but I don't know what I dipped it in. I don't think they do either, so that's why I didn't bother asking. But I said to them, I said, I don't know if that's gluten-free, so I better not. Like, oh, what, do you want it? I'm like, no, I have gluten-free. So I'm not sure, but I feel some of them don't really understand what gluten-free dietary requirement means. It's people with celiacs, mate. But it is what it is. I understand different parts of the world, all people have it, so it's not relevant to them, and I completely understand that. Before I met Cindy, my partner, she's from China, she didn't have a clue what it was, and she had to learn all about it. But That's the only little knack, because the only thing I think about with things like that is, like, let's just say if you had a kid that's got celiacs, something like this, and I mean, you do see kids in business class. I've seen them quite a few times, and then if they come around with satay, the kid might just pick it up and eat it. Do you know what I mean? You got to be careful with that stuff. But just my thoughts. Aside from that, the seats, not too bad. The actual business class itself somewhat reminded me of Cathay Pacific, just like the layout, or the A350 business class with Cathay Pacific that I flew last year, Hong Kong down to Singapore. Wasn't too bad. But the only things I'd say with the Malaysian Airlines sort of setup, there's not really much place for storage. I like to have a place where maybe I can put my laptop or, you know, my carry bag, these sorts of things, or maybe even just your shoes, so you can put the slippers on before you go to sleep, or try to sleep in my case. So there's a few areas there, especially in the Wi-Fi as well. It didn't really work until the morning when probably some people were sleeping. So, you know, that was a bit touch and go. But then again, I haven't flown too many airlines which have the international Wi-Fi unless you pay for it. And I guess the good part is if you pay for it, not too many would be paying for it. So, yeah, you're going to have a bit more of a, well, you're going to have faster internet speeds, aren't you? So, look, overall, guys, it wasn't bad. It wasn't too bad at all. I mean, I paid, what, $207, something like that, and 61,000 Qantas Frequent Flyer points. Would I do it again? Yeah, absolutely. It's more comfortable than economy. Would I be paying full cost? Probably not. No. And at the end of the day, if I had a choice, let's just say between another airline for the same route or that sort of thing, depends who it is. I mean, let's just say if it was Cathay Pacific, I'd probably go Cathay Pacific. You know, funny enough, in the last year, I've flown a bunch of different business classes, international business class. Japan Airlines, who else? China Airlines, Emirates, Cathay Pacific, Malaysia, who else? I think there's a couple more, but anyways, out of those, obviously Emirates was the best experience, especially on the A380. But then it's actually China Airlines, and I would really love to go back and fly China Airlines again at some point, in a long haul sense. But yeah, I think that surprises a few people, but really, I thought they were up there. After that, I'd probably rank, and I think it depends on the Japan Airlines business class too. I flew on a 787-8, I believe it was. I know they have different sort of fit outs for different aircraft with different cabins and whatnot, but the one I had, the business class, was just like a 2-2-2 configuration. It wasn't the really nice, you know, 1-2-1. But then again, I'm flying first class with Japan on the A350 next week, so, or this coming week actually. But yeah, so yeah, it's funny, but it is what it is. All right, guys, well, thank you very much for watching if you made it this far into the video, and if you can give it a like if you have liked the video, and also if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, and I'll catch you around to the next ones when we're flying up to Sapporo. That will be first class with Japan Airlines on the A350, and then we'll do a bit of a budget one. We'll go Jetstar back down near the Tokyo. After that, we're flying Peach, then Spring Airlines. Then we're going to be flying a Chinese aircraft called the Comac C919, I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it's that. And then we're going to be flying that one from Wuhan, of all places. No comment. We're going to be flying from Wuhan down to, or across to Shanghai. And then we've got Vietnam Airlines all the way back to Australia. Once again, thanks guys. Been rabbiting on a fair bit. It's because I'm tired, I reckon. But once again, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.